You're listening to Radio Primavera Sound, proudly presented by Cupra.
Hello and welcome once again to Line Noise. We have a very special episode with you today. I mean, I think all the episodes are special, but this one, really is quite something. It is an interview with Speed Dealer Mums, who you probably know, John Frusciante, probably best known as a guitar player from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, but also producer of excellent electronic music, and Aaron Funk, aka the towering Venetian Snares, producer who defies 4/4 time signatures in the name of brilliantly experimental electronic sounds. This was apparently their first ever joint interview. No, not apparently. They told me this was their first ever joint interview. It's one of the reasons why it's so special. And we spoke about listening to music differently, 16-hour jams, friendship in music, actual Speed Dealer Mums, jungle, Bangface, and a whole lot more along the way. As I said, I think this interview's pretty special, so I hope you enjoy it. Look, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. It's a real pleasure to speak to you both, and I've really been enjoying the new record, which I think for me is probably my favourite thing you've done, possibly because I love all the jungle sound, basically. Anyway, it's a fabulous record. I want just to go back, like, how you two met in 2008, right?
Yeah.
How?
I don't know. We started talking to each other over email.
Yeah, I remember what happened. We were playing in Winnipeg, and Aaron was my favorite musician. I just listened to his music all the time. I was pretty obsessed with it. And so when my band was going through Winnipeg, I thought, this is where Aaron Funk lives. I'm just going to try to get in touch with him. So I had our road manager reach out, and we thought, we'd go to like a manager or something, but he went straight into being in touch with Aaron. And then Aaron and I had each other's emails, and then he moved to Budapest. And so his reception wasn't too good there. And I can't remember, he might have emailed me or I emailed him. What we found out like a year later was we thought the other one wasn't writing back, but it's just that his Wi-Fi wasn't good out there. Is that right, Aaron? Do you remember that?
I don't remember that. I remember I was in Europe somewhere when you rolled through here. That was maybe like 2006 or something. I don't know. But
yeah, you said that you couldn't come to the show.
Yeah, I think I was in like the Netherlands or something. I was over there a lot at that time.
But you wrote a really nice thing saying that when you were in 6th grade, you had a Chili Peppers stencil.
I did. My friend made one. He painted it on his jacket. It was pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to ask, actually, if you both felt a bit intimidated by each other. Like, John, you said Aaron's one of your favourite producers. And, John's come from a very big sort of well-known band. Did you feel any kind of intimidation?
I'm still scared of John. You never know what he's going to do. You might walk around a corner, he's gonna leap out at you.
Yeah, it's always been really comfortable. I just could, especially, texting each other was comfortable, like when we were only knowing each other that way. And then when we finally met each other in person, it just felt like we were on the same frequency or something. It didn't feel like, it didn't.
Right. Yeah. I guess when we first started speaking with each other, we weren't like talking about music or being like conjuring up some great plans to jam or anything. We were more like talking about our personal lives, and I think we were going through something a bit similar at the time. And yeah, we just kind of became buds like that.
Yeah.
And how did you first make music? Did you first met each other? Did you then just immediately sit down and make something?
No. Sorry, Aaron.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, no, like I said, we were online for a while, just communicating that way. And then when he came to LA once, we were just hanging out. I met a lot of cool electronic musicians who live here in LA through Aaron at that point, which actually is the scene of people that led me to marrying my wife, who I'm married to now, Marcy. But huh?
I was just saying, Marcy, giving her a shout out.
But yeah, like we did have a jam at some point during like that first week that we were actually in each other's physical presence. That was with a bunch of people, like must have been 10 people. Like Kevin Key was one of the people from Skinny Puppy, but
yeah, we're at Cyrus's place.
Yeah, Alessandro probably, who's in 9 Inch Nails now. I think he was probably one of the people now.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he had his Ookla over there. That was cool.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a bunch of people on the floor. I just had a 303. What were you playing, Aaron?
The 808. Everyone was clocking off my 808.
Right. So that was fun.
Yeah, that was cool.
So after that, there was a sense that maybe we might do something in the future, but really we just liked hanging out as friends, and the music came out of that for sure, which is a lot different from how people usually connect with each other. It seems like, you know.
Do you think that kind of warmth is reflected in the music you make?
Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah, homemade music, you know. So it comes from being company in your home and being relaxed with your friends, and it couldn't have happened any other way than that. Even the whole thing of like the normal thing these days when you make music and then you release it right away, and there's this constant, the two things are kind of always connected in time. We never felt the need for that because we really were just making music to make sound in the house, you know. And so,
yeah, I feel like we kind of started doing music together just by fluke almost, because I remember you were in New York. I think you were recording something with Mars Volta.
Yeah.
Then, you know, or you came to visit me in between, like on your way home, and then we just started jamming out.
Yeah, I had my machines with me because I was like, I did a machine drum thing on the Mars Volta record that I was doing there, and plus I was carrying around that stuff with me anyways, and so just.
I know. Then you ended up staying for like a few weeks, and we just like made tunes every day.
Yeah,
that was awesome. And then yeah, from there we just, you know, we set out to take chunks of time and do that.
Yeah.
Well, this is something I find interesting about you, because it seems like for you, making music and releasing music are not necessarily connected. Like you, from how I've seen it described, you've made loads and loads of music, and then I'm not quite sure how you decide that now's the time to release some of it.
Good question.
Yeah.
I think we've never set out to, we've never made anything with the intention to release it. We're making it for ourselves, you know, because it's, the process of it is really fulfilling. So we're not necessarily like, okay, let's sit down and make this for this grand thing to present to anyone, you know. It's sort of, that comes way after the fact.
Yeah, and also like our favorite format is vinyl for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And really for the kind of music that we make, where you want a lot of low frequencies and stuff, it's you can only really do about, I don't know, 12 minutes a side comfortably.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 13 minutes or something, depending on who you talk to, but you're definitely, once you start getting into like a 15-minute side or a 20-minute side or a 25-minute side, you're making pretty drastic sonic compromises. And our music when we started used to be very long. Like it was 20 minutes was kind of the normal length of a piece of music for us. Yeah. So it definitely took a few years before we were even making tunes that would fit in the format, you know? So that was part of it. But yeah, we just didn't really think about it that much. Like you know, probably for that first Planet Mu release or that first Time Save release that we did, it was just kind of like, I think Aaron might have said, I think these 2 songs would go make a good record, you know, and then we looked at it that way and agreed that it would, and so put it out. And then our second record, yeah, it was a similar thing. Probably he was probably starting his label at that time that we did our first one, and I think we were probably starting Evar. Me and Marcy were starting Evar around the time that we put out our second one. So it probably had something to do with us having our own labels. I don't know.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask John, what do you like about Aaron's music?
I definitely like everything about it. I can honestly say that. Yeah, like for me, when I was a little kid, and you know, new wave music and punk music were the things that really made me feel like I had something that I was connected to in music. Before that, I might have liked something because my parents liked it or my friends liked it or something. But new wave and punk, I kind of discovered on my own, and it felt like it belonged to me, and it felt like it was a part of me, and that was real kind of peppy, you know, for the time. That was fast music and high energy music, and like it was just the most intense thing you could listen to, and the strangest thing you could listen to. It was like, or at least it seemed that way to me, you know. And over time, you know, with music changes, and you can't necessarily look to the same styles for the same feeling, you know. And when I first saw Aaron perform, it gave me the new version of that feeling that I got when I was 9 years old, and I was into the Germs and Devo and stuff like that. Like it was just, it felt brand new, and it felt like really exciting, and it was fast, but it was also beautiful, and it combined all different kinds of influences in it. And yeah, so you know, mostly it's the feeling that it gives me, you know, like it gives me the feeling that makes me feel like music is inside me, and not just like something that I can appreciate from the outside, you know.
Aaron, what do you like about John's music?
Really nice, man.
I love your music.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, to comment on what you said, like, yeah, like for me, music it's the most about harnessing an energy, you know, like conveying that energy. It's nice that you felt it.
Right.
And Aaron, how about the other way? What do you like about John's music?
Well, what do I like about John's music? Oh my God, he's fucking melodically advanced. He thinks about melodic things that do not occur to me. And that's like that's a beautiful thing about making music with another person, which is like something I've always sort of made music by myself because I didn't really have that connection with anyone. But a beautiful thing is like he hears things and thinks of things that like I do not. And it's, you know, it's fascinating to hear what he creates, because it sounds like him. There's nobody with his melodic sense.
I wanted to ask this because, Aaron, you don't collaborate with a lot of people. I know you did the album with Daniel Lanois in 2018, but you don't, as far as I know, work with a lot of people. And in a way, for me, that makes sense because your music is a lot of it is so incredibly dense and complicated. Like, I don't think there's much space. Was it hard for you to work with someone else to sort of like give over a bit of the control, or was it kind of quite refreshing?
Well, I mean, as far as making music with John, it's, you know, nobody's in control, you know, so it's nice in that regard. With other people, I have experienced, you know, like, instead of just allowing music what it wants to be, which is that's another thing like I love about John. He understands how to allow something to be what it wants to be, you know, rather than like some people are like, hey, you know, like let's make something that'll like fucking hype up the crowd or whatever. I'm just like, fuck, like let's like you know, that's like it's hatching your eggs and deciding what you're gonna put, like you're making me a fucking omelet or something before before the chicken's born. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me to just put constraints on something like before it's conceived of. So I find a lot of people approach music that way, and it feels uncomfortable to me. So,
and there was also like the fact that like Aaron's real comfortable in odd time signatures, and it's rare in electronic music to find anybody even messing around with that a little bit, you know. And for me, that was something about his music that I was always drawn to, because ever since I was almost as far back as I can remember, I was exposed to and into progressive rock and stuff. So odd time signatures were always a real normal thing to me. It's not necessarily, you know, it's not something I did a lot of in my band or even in my solo music, but like when I played in the Mars Volta, that was something I was called upon to do, was you know, do music in odd time signatures. And it's just very comfortable for me because like, you know, spent so much time playing along with and studying that kind of music, that has a lot of it. But Aaron's music was doing odd time signatures in a whole new way. You know, his version of 7/4 is not the same thing as like King Crimson's version of 7/4. They're two completely different things. And I was really excited about it because like when I saw King Crimson when I was a little kid, it was a bunch of you know, like a bunch of musicians sitting down in chairs watching them and stuff. But when I saw Aaron, it was you know, boys and girls slam dancing and moshing and going crazy, and you know, people jumping all over the place. Yeah, there's I won't go into the technical reasons for that, but there are technical reasons for that. Like, it doesn't make your brain have to flip backwards every bar, and so exploring like the possibilities of odd time signatures with him in itself has been like a really fun thing, and not something that we could expect to do with other people, you know, necessarily.
So I think I might be a little bit broken because I don't have ideas in 4/4. Very, very rarely. I don't know why, but I don't.
Yeah. It's funny, sometimes we've gone into doing stuff in 4/4 by mistake. Like we don't realize it's happening, but we do this weird thing with the polyrhythms and the numbers, and somehow a section starts to sound like almost 4/4. It's been it's been a neat phenomenon that's happened. 4/4 with some warped kind of groove to it, and totally done it without realizing it until it's been happening for an hour or something. Hey, this sounds like 4/4.
Well, I wondered if maybe a reason for that is, Aaron, you said in an interview I read recently that you sometimes go very long times without listening to any music. Is that still true?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, I like to listen to music in my mind a lot. But I just kind of do that a lot.
I mean, I think it's really interesting sort of difference because, John, from what I've read about you, you come across as a real music fan. Like I think you were talking about jungle being your favorite kind of music ever, and you talk a lot about the different types of music you like. And then Aaron, you were saying, yeah, I don't really listen to any music. I found it a really interesting contrast.
I mean, I don't not listen. I probably listen to music every day. But, I don't. Sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
I'm always hearing music. I don't know. Everything is music.
Yeah, I mean, it's Aaron's kind of an exceptional case because he hears music in his head in the same way that you or I might hear it out of a stereo system. So even if he's not listening to music, he literally hears music in his head. So like it's not it's not really about listening to music or not listening to music for him. And definitely a lot of the way that we spend time listening, a lot of the way that we spend time hanging out together is listening to music.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's in a different way than I do with some people. Like I learned to hear music in a different way through listening to it with Aaron.
What do you mean by that?
I can explain that, huh?
Oh, you can't explain. I was about to ask what you mean by that. In what way you listen to music?
Well, you know how when you watch a movie with somebody, you might see a movie in a different way because you're watching it with somebody who. It depends on who you're watching it with. How your relationship to the movie might be a movie you've seen a bunch of times and you're kind of bored with, but you watch it with a certain person and all of a sudden it comes to life.
Yeah, you're watching their experience of it. I love showing people great movies that they've not seen, and the same goes for music. Playing something for someone that they're unfamiliar with, but will probably resonate with them in a cool way.
Yeah, like he hears music in a different way, and I tend to hear music that way from hanging out with him, and it's hard to describe because these things, in a lot of ways, they're ineffable. But I would say that that there's, just considering who I've been friends with and what other people that I've done that with in the past, it's really about perceiving the elements of the music that are unusual.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the real entities. And it's not so much the personality of the person who made the music or the way the person who made the music looks or dresses or what style they fit into. It's not about the genre that the person is a part of. It's really about like listening to what the music is saying, and that's the entity that you're perceiving, and moments that are in that music that nobody else would have thought of or that are particularly unusual for any style of music. So like you might pull that out of you might perceive something like that in listening to like the Ventures or Annette Funicello or Ricky Nelson, just weird sort of 50s music that might be like kind of kitschy or something, but there's something in it that's just bizarre. And and like Will's going into things like that. So we listen to electronic music that way. Like you might think because of Aaron's music, like people think of it as being like complex or whatever, but like he really likes like early acid and stuff. Like we would listen to that kind of stuff. It's such a strange kind of music, and it's live music, which was inspiring to us. Like you can tell it's just a person with a drum machine and a 303 recording themselves on a cassette in a little room. And the music has like a rawness because of that. So it's that rawness that's the personality that we hear. I mean, I can't tell you how Aaron hears music, but that's what I get from listening to music. It's less about, DJ Pierre is amazing or whatever, and it's more about well, listen to those 303 moves, or listen to that awesome distortion on the kick drum, or whatever, you know. Like you tend to zone in on things that are strange, which is like, you know, which are the things that make music unique, you know. So I don't know. Hopefully I did a good enough job explaining it just now. I don't know.
Yeah.
A lot of it I can't put into words, you know.
I wanted to go back to 2009. You were booked for the Bangface Weekender, but you couldn't play in the end because the gear failed, right?
Yes.
I wanted to know what you made of Bangface.
Well, I guess they rented us a bunch of gear that we said we wanted to use, and you know, it looked like the stuff was immaculate looking. It was like, oh wow, this is like the most mint looking like 909 I've ever seen, but like none of it worked. It was all just like prop shit. So I guess people would rent that stuff and set it up on stage to be like huge fucking posers or something, and
make videos with it.
That's what we ended up with.
Yeah.
What did you?
People were literally renting the stuff to have it in a video, you know. So nobody had actually plugged it in for 30 years or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we just thought we could save on shipping and stuff if we just rented stuff, and it just didn't work out.
What did you make of the madness of Bangface? I got to say, because I've been there once, and it was one of the strangest places I've ever been to. What did you think?
Oh man, I love Bangface.
Yeah, we both love Bangface.
Pure carnage. It's just idiotic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great place to get really stupid.
Well, I was going to say, there's a humour to your music, isn't there? I mean, like the name Speed Dealer Mums is kind of quite funny. Would you say there's humour to what you do?
Oh yeah, I mean, we're laughing a lot of the time while we're making music. You know, we might stop for like an hour and just be laughing the whole time. So
yeah, we have a lot of laughs. I remember when we first started hanging out, we'd watch a lot of like really funny comedy stuff. Like we watched Tim and Eric Awesome Show and like just ridiculous like comedy movies and stuff. And
yeah.
Sort of between making tunes.
Yeah, Step Brothers and Dr. Steve Brule and stuff.
Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story.
Yeah. You know what came on the other night? That Tom Green movie.
Freddie Got Fingered.
Yeah.
That was incredible.
Excited because it was on Criterion channel, and he was really excited when he was watching it.
Whoa. Is there a Criterion edition of Freddie Got Fingered?
No, it was just on the channel, but not. They didn't actually release like a DVD of it.
Oh
but
man,
it brought back some old memories because that was funny. But yeah, so we would watch stupid stuff and then make music.
And where did the name come from then?
One of us, I won't say which of us, was telling the other one that some people who they went to school with, I won't say what level of school, was now a mom and was a speed dealer. So I said, some of my friends, oh shit, I just gave it away, damn it.
So someone said.
But anyways, but yeah, so
it came about that some people one of us went to high school with were now speed dealer moms, and then the other one of us said, "Holy fuck, that's our band name."
It is an awesome name.
I like it.
So, like, Birth Control Pill, the new single, as I was saying, I think it's my favourite thing you've done. It reminds me slightly of My Red Hot Car by Square Pusher. Can you see that?
no,
No? Oh.
yeah,
But it was kind of like there was a big, like, jungle influence in it, right?
oh yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
I wanted
A
to...
little less Seinfeld soundtrack though.
So, I mean, Aaron, you're renowned for like very, very complex beats, among many other things. But like Birth Control Pill feels like, you know, you could almost dance to it. In fact, you could dance to it. I want to know, have you danced to it?
I have danced to it. Have you danced to it?
Of course.
I did a little dance in my kitchen, which is where I tend to do my dancing these days. How did you both get into jungle?
Me was like going to parties in the early 90s, you know, listening to mixtapes and stuff.
Yeah, for me, like I used to go out to like drum and bass clubs, because for me it was later, it was more like in 98, 99, 2000 and stuff, and that I'm gradually moving towards figuring out what jungle itself was. And so sometimes at the drum and bass club they would play like somebody would come in and play jungle, and I would just be like, oh, what the fuck was that? You know, but like, I don't know, I was out of it, and like just didn't it, you know, like I didn't really I didn't fully understand what it was until like years later. Like I was into like some early rave stuff and some stuff that now I would say is jungle, or at least is related to it closely. But I didn't really start to understand about all the underground labels back then, like Suburban Bass and Lucky Spin and all that. Like I learned about that stuff from Aaron, you know.
Do you have a favorite jungle producer, both of you? Or some favorites?
Oh God.
Yeah. Yeah, like Baby Kane is definitely one of my favorites. We both like Remark a lot. Busy Bee is one of our favorites.
I love Busy Bee.
Yeah. Like, yeah, for a long time, I was always every time it was Aaron's birthday, I'd make big jungle comps for him, recording them off my records.
Yeah, super beautiful rips of records.
Yeah.
Is there like much of a jungle scene where you both live?
Here, no. I mean, there once was, yeah, but no, not currently.
Yeah, like here, you know, like I say, drum and bass was really big. We definitely had like rave scenes going on in the 90s. Like now I know people who were in those scenes and stuff, but you know, and I think people like jungle a lot here. I don't know how many people are actually playing it out all the time, but I think they probably are. I haven't been going out or anything, so I don't really know.
Right.
Yeah.
On the website, your band is described as a live electronics outlet. Is that because you record everything live? Because you haven't, as far as I know, played any live gigs, right?
Yeah, it doesn't mean live in the sense of in front of an audience. It means live in the sense that what you hear when you hear our record is something that happened in a room in real time with no overdubs. Like it means that we're playing our machines. We're playing our machines together in a room and recording it to stereo. And so what happens in that room across that 10 minutes or whatever, that's what you hear on the record.
Yeah, sometimes we'll record a few different versions of of something, and they're usually wildly different.
And is it always obvious which one to use, or do you disagree sometimes?
We usually agree.
Yeah, we usually agree. There's usually an undeniable magic one. We have had disagreements in the past. Sometimes he's happy with it and I'm not, or whatever. But for the most part, it's always clear. Like, oh yeah, that one.
Yeah, there's always one that's just feels magic.
Yeah.
Do you each have a particular thing you're responsible for? Like, you know, one of you more responsible for the rhythms, one for the melody, or is it more mixed up?
I guess I'm generally the drummer.
Yeah, and I'm generally doing the melodies, but like sometimes Aaron does the bass, sometimes I do the bass, sometimes Aaron does melodies, sometimes I do things that are percussive. So there's definitely not a clear line drawn, but at first we just, either of us might be doing anything, like sometimes I would be the drummer, and it just seemed after a while, as we started to be, I don't want to say more serious, but as we started being more, as we started realizing what our potential was more, it just seemed like it definitely comes out better when, in general, when he's the drummer, and when I'm doing like the better part of the melodies and stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of crossover in between, to where sometimes when we're listening back to our stuff, we can't tell who's doing what in a lot of cases.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And why do you record live? Just because it's more fun, or because it's more natural, or?
Why do we record like that?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the funnest way to make electronic music to me. Like,
yeah, definitely. And it's really natural for us. Like the way we end up with a tune is we listen to each other programming stuff and play off of that, and we're pulling our sync tables in and out and just checking how something's sounding. It's just like constantly responding to each other. So it's like this, we're just building this like immense conversation. And then, when we finally set out to record it, that conversation is happening.
Yeah. And that part of it is really exciting too, like, because we're switching patterns all the time, and we're sort of counting in our heads. So it'll often be the case where, like, I switch from these 4 elements to those 4 elements, and Aaron switches from these like 15 elements to these other 15 elements, and we do it at the same time, and we don't know what that's going to sound like because we didn't plan for it. We're just sort of counting in 16s in our head, and something feels like an appropriate moment for a big change to happen, but we don't know what that change is going to sound like, but we're generally really satisfied with how it does sound. It's like better than anything either of us could have imagined. And so you're constantly, and in a million other ways, just changing the sounds and listening to what the other one's doing. Each person's going on this exploration that you don't know where it's going to go, and you're going on a separate exploration, but you're listening to what the other person's doing, and you just wind up with these results that when you're finished with it, you're just like, oh yeah, I want to hear that. Like it's so different than when you make music with overdubs and stuff, and you're very clear about what you're doing at every successive moment of the creativity.
This might sound like a stupid question, but is it?
Let me say one more thing.
Oh, of course.
That's how I started in electronic music. Was really like when it became something more than just a curiosity. When I actually started making electronic music in earnest, that's how I was doing it. Was me in my living room with a bunch of machines, recording them live onto a CD burner. So like, it's the way I started, and and I knew that Aaron was making music that way too, and it's just like, and a lot of my favorite music that I was listening to, I had a sense was done that way, or at least predominantly done that way. And so it's really it's the most natural way to make music, in addition to being kind of the most interesting, and the way that puts a kind of a pressure on you to really be alive. You can't just drift off, when you're doing a take. That's the entire world is that take. And it's really nice to be so completely absorbed in the moment. It's a special thing. Yeah.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask. Like, how do you feel when you're making this kind of music? So it seems like it's a very happy thing, but it must be incredibly intense. And I can't it seems like maybe you go on for hours doing it, but I don't know how you can kind of concentrate so much. I mean, is it relaxing in a way? Is it incredibly taxing? How does it feel?
It's more like, I find it more invigorating, and exciting. But yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily relaxed. I mean, I feel relaxed doing it, but it's not I don't know if, it's not like sleepy time or something.
Yeah, I would say the tensest moments that I can ever remember feeling are when you unplug your sync cable, because you have to program something on a machine that you can't be plugged in while you're programming on it. And you have to hold an idea in your head while a bunch of chaotic stuff is going on in the background, because Aaron's programming his stuff and everything's just going wild. And I have to hold on to this idea and try to make sure that it's going to fit into that time signature and stuff. Those moments, there's a kind of a mental tension, but all that is relieved when you plug it in and you hear that the thing you did works and fits in with what he's doing and stuff. And
I love that. It's really nice to hold an absurd amount of stuff in your mind at once.
Yeah, it's a great mental exercise, and then when the jamming is going on, that's pretty relaxing, because the programming is probably harder than the jamming. The jamming is just like these free flowing moments in the midst of the programming where you can just sort of have some fun for a while, and then when there's enough stuff programmed to where each guy can really have enough stuff to really have some fun in a performance, and you start recording it, that's like a combination of feeling like you're flying or something, like everything's flowing, and in a way, kind of that same, you have to have that same kind of tension that you have when you're programming something and you're listening to a bunch of other stuff going on in the background, but combined with the flowiness. You have to be super concentrating, because there's a lot of aspects to what we do where if you don't turn this knob and that knob just in the perfect degree in relationship to one another, a sound is going to happen that's going to be so loud that it's going to blow everything out, and the take is going to be ruined. There's a lot of moments like that where you're just where you're right on the edge of the whole thing self-destructing. And so you have to be super sharp and aware while you're doing it, and at the same time you've got to be in that stream of the flow of energy, and which requires a kind of a free feeling in yourself. So the recording part is a real life affirming kind of exhilarating thing.
Because I'm interested, does it use, obviously you're known for, among other things, as a guitar player. Does it use a similar part of the brain as playing the guitar, or is it kind of different?
Pretty different. There have been techniques that I've done in the past, there's a thing that that you can do on the mono machine where you I would have two mono machines and I would set it up so the mutes were like playing a keyboard, and I would have a bunch of stuff programmed on all 6 tracks of each of the two mono machines. So I'd play the mutes like it was a keyboard, and I'm using my finger dexterity when I'm doing that. And that's been a technique that I've done quite a bit in Speed Dealer Moms. So in that sense, when I do that, it's a very literal part of being a guitarist. Also, feedback, I would say there's a connection, because feedback has always been one of my main interests in the guitar. Ever since I first started playing, feedback was like one of my favorite things about being an electric guitarist. And a lot of what we do in Speed Dealer Moms, we do a lot of stuff with feedback. It's a different kind of feedback. It's not holding a guitar up to an amp, but it's feedback on a mixing board, or it's feedback on within machines, or feedback in delay units, or synthesizer feedback. So that's a connection as well. Yeah, Aaron's great at that.
Aaron, I wanted to ask actually. You basically make music all the time, right? I mean, literally, kind of from when you wake to when you go to bed.
Is that right?
I think you mentioned that.
Let's put it this way: we're very comfortable making music for like 12 hours at a time. We've been known to make music for 16 hours at a time.
Who says stop when you've been going for 16 hours? Who's the one that goes, look, no, really, we need to go to bed?
Either of us, I guess. We're like falling over, or, our ears are just like thrashed. Like, let's take a break here. Yeah.
We talked a little bit earlier about how you like to play records to each other. Do you currently have a record that you've got that you can't wait to play to the other person?
I guess I don't.
Yeah, I feel like that also kind of falls outside of the. If we did, we would just send each other a YouTube link or something. Like.
Yeah. If we were hanging out, it would just occur to us like, oh, you should hear this. Yeah.
But we're generally not like that. Like, I have some friends; they're always sending music to people or sending music to me. I'm not really into that kind of communication. It's really about like, when Aaron comes over or when I go over to his house, like there's whatever sort of stuff that I happen to be listening to at that time, like that becomes a part of the vibe of the period of, like if he's coming over here, like what I'm the variety of things I'm listening to always changes. So like, and I'm always interested to hear, like, to see what he thinks of certain things that I'm listening to, and some things like might resonate a lot, and some things might just be interesting, and some things might make him think of some other music that relates to that. Like, I feel like when we did Birth Control Pill, like I was listening to the Orb a lot. I had this really good UF Orb cassette.
Oh, that's really good. The UF Orb cassette.
Yeah,
wow.
It was really great sounding, and then I what was I listening to? Like, I feel like I was listening to some experimental stuff, like maybe PETA or something, and then that made you think of Yasunao Tone.
Oh yeah.
And it made you think of that Marianne what's her name? Marianne Barkley?
Oh, Marianne Amiche.
Amiche, yeah. Like that have you heard that band?
I haven't, no.
She made this crazy music where what's coming out of the speakers is one thing, but then it makes this other harmonic take place inside your eardrum.
Jesus.
And so you put on the CD and you put it at a certain volume, and you're sitting like maybe 15 feet from the speakers, and you hear a musical element that's not coming out of the speakers. It's happening inside your eardrum.
Yeah, it feels like it's coming from inside your head. It's very cool.
It's a crazy, I've never heard anything like that. So that's just a crazy advancement that she made, you know.
Sorry.
I think. And so like what I'm listening to, you know, might remind him of other things, and the listening goes on like that. There's very little of like, this is amazing, you got to hear it. You know, it's more of just like, this is what one of us is interested in at the time, and that brings up something another one might be interested in the time, or just fun, silly music, you know, that we just enjoy listening to. But yeah, it's so much connected to the feeling of being together, or the time and place that we are at the time. It's much more about that than it is about the music itself, I would say. Yeah.
Do you listen back to the music you make?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the funnest parts of the whole thing, you know. The time when you can really just lay down and not worry about anything and just hear what happened, you know.
Yeah, it's so nice because when you're in it, it's a different experience than like once it's something you brought into existence and you can now, you know, recall. And yeah.
Yeah, you can listen to the whole thing rather than having to focus on certain elements. And yeah, there's been times when I've been so in the habit of having to remember to do certain things at certain times and stuff that while I'm listening to it, my brain goes, you got to turn the 202 off right now.
No.
But in general, it's really nice to just be relaxing, you know. And
they're quite cool when you come back to something maybe like, you know, a few months later or a year later or more, and you listen to it, and it's just like all that stuff is gone, and you're just experiencing it as a whole. And that's very nice as well.
I wonder if it's a bit like, you know, a lot of people, we look through photos and we're like, oh yeah, I remember that time we went on holiday or whatever. With you, is it like you listen back to the music and like, I remember that time we were in, you know, your front room and we, you know, played this for 12 hours straight?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It's like little photographs, you know, of periods of time. And it's pure in that way, because one thing about it is we don't have that, like there might be musical pressures and tensions and stuff, but we don't have that pressure of like, we got to finish it by such and such a date, you know, or any of the kind of or I wonder if it's good enough, or, you know, or what are people going to think of us? Are people going to understand it? Like we don't have to, we're free of those kind of pressures and tensions. And so when we look back at it, it's really just these periods of time of being able to just like, of being with our friends, you know, and living life and not having to think about anything but music, you know, and it's very meaningful music to us. I think in a lot of ways, the reason why we don't release more of it than we do is just because it's felt like it's this world that we've created together, you know.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's a bit like it's our sort of family photo albums or something, you know, and it'd be weird to just like, well, let's make a coffee table book of our family photos or something, you know.
Yeah.
It just seems odd.
Yeah.
But in a weird way, that's why I'd like to hear so much more of it, because I think that kind of warmth does come out, and it's quite a refreshing thing to hear in such sort of experimental music, to hear something where, you know, the warmth of a friendship does come through. I'm not saying all like experimental electronic music is cold. I don't believe that at all. But I think there's a special kind of warmth in what you do.
Thanks. Yeah. Like, were you gonna say something, Aaron?
No, I'm in agreement. There's a very special warmth.
But yeah, there's certain tunes that that I think are like from what we've done. That's like that I still have in my head as being certain ones that are calling out for being released. And so like I would imagine those ones will come out someday. But it's just something we're doing gradually because we have to adapt to that feeling of it's out there now and all that.
Yeah.
Well, you both have record labels. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But look, you've been very generous with your time. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you. I just wanted to ask one sort of closing question. What musical advice would you give to each other?
To each other?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure both of us are not super big on giving advice to anybody. It's one nice thing. It's one nice thing about making music with each other is we never feel like we have to say anything to the other one.
Yeah.
That's been a really nice thing to just feel like I can completely trust him to be him, and he can completely trust me to be me, and we like what that sounds like.
Yeah, I think we offer each other more encouragement rather than advice.
Right. Yeah.
Like keep being you.
Yeah. Yeah, or this particular little thing was rad or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's hard giving people advice because in a way, put on themselves in terms of wanting to be seen in a certain way or wanting to be heard in a certain way or wanting to be talked about in a certain way. Nobody can really do anything other than be themselves, And
Yeah.
and so I don't know if there's any general advice I could give to to people in general. It's to be all right with being yourself, because you don't have any choice but to do that anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Don't latch onto something and try and be that thing, because that thing is already a predetermined thing that perhaps isn't you. So determine your own self and be that.
Yeah.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. Congratulations again on the record, which I'm going to go and have another listen to when I get off the call. But hopefully we will hear. Sorry?
That was the first time that Aaron and I ever did an interview together. Thanks so much. You made it a really comfortable experience.
Yeah, thanks, man.
No, thank you so much. It was an absolute pleasure to do it, and I really appreciate you taking the time.
Cool.
All right. Well, have a lovely day, and if you ever want to speak again, you know where I am.
You're listening to Radio Primavera Sound, proudly presented by Kukra.